If you're new to the gym and haven't been seeing results, then this might be the video for you. I'm going to walk you through everything I wish I knew when I started lifting. If I had skipped all of these mistakes, I would have saved myself years of frustration in the gym spinning my wheels. And because I made all of these mistakes, you don't have to. Lesson number 1, and probably most importantly, programming mistakes. I used to think that showing up to the gym was enough. I used to do a handful of machines that I would pick at random, just doing what I felt like that day. I thought the more I went to the gym, the more I would get out of it. So I came in, no plan, 7 days a week, about 3 hours a day, and I was putting all that work in. But because I didn't have a routine and it was changing all the time and the intensity and the progression wasn't there, it didn't do an awful lot for me. Sometimes it's not about the quantity, it really is the quality of the work you're doing. So what you need is a program that mostly stays the same and progresses over time. That can be in greater reps, it can be with more sets, or it can be with more weight on the bar. This isn't a rule, but for most beginners in the gym, 3 days a week, full body training is going to be more than enough. Your workouts should centre around progressible compound movements. So these are going to be exercises where many muscles are engaged at once. For instance, if you just do a pec fly, all you're going to really be working is your chest. Alternatively, if you do something like a bench press, you're going to be working your chest, triceps and shoulders all at the same time. This packs a greater punch because you're getting more fatigue on more muscles, and it's a lot easier to chase progression. It's a lot easier to track going up weight on a bench press than it is on a chest fly. The number one thing you want to be doing is tracking your weights. You need to see whether they're going up over time, and you don't want to have to remember what you did last week. You might find yourself asking the question, did I do that for 5 or 6 last week? Did I do that for 10 or did I do it for 12? And this confusion may cause you to pick the wrong weights or stay on a lower weight for longer. Lesson number 2, eating like an idiot. When I first started out, I dieted down to be way too small. I'd have been better off maintaining my body weight and eating a little bit cleaner, higher protein for instance. But instead, I just cut my calories massively and ended up essentially losing body weight, but not losing body fat. I went from overweight to underweight, and the entire time I was still pretty high body fat percentage. I didn't focus on my nutrition in a deliberate way. I wasn't tracking my calories, and I certainly wasn't tracking my protein. I was just trying to eat cleaner. And of course, when you don't have the data, you can't make positive changes because you don't know what decisions you're making. The same way that you have to track your weights and your path of progression, you need to track your nutrition and your path of progression in equal measure. General recommendation, consume 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. And for cutting, you're going to want anywhere from a 200 calorie to a 500 calorie deficit. Anything less is going to be harder to enforce. Anything more is maybe going to be a little bit too much. Again, with bulking, anything less than 200 is going to be pretty hard to track and make sure you're getting, and anything more than 500 may be a little bit too aggressive. Again, these are general guidelines. Always focusing on chasing muscle appearance, size, and your strength over a number on the scale. Don't focus on chasing the pump, focus on chasing progression. It might feel like I've covered this already with our programming section, but the point here is something a little bit different and something that can often get confusing for beginners. I'll take you back to when I first started in the gym. I had seen some progression, I had been going there a few months, every workout, the weights were going up, and I was feeling that kind of engorged feeling in the muscles, feeling that burn, and whenever I would leave the gym, they would feel just a little bit bigger. And in my head, I started to associate that soreness, that feeling in the muscle, to my progress. I thought the sorer I can get, the more kind of pain I can elicit, I'll see more growth. It got to the point that I was listening to the pump so much that one day I went into the gym and hit a bench PR, and I looked in the mirror afterwards and I was disappointed because the week before I had a killer chest pump, and this week it looked a little bit flat. And when I left the gym that night, when I woke up the next morning, my chest wasn't sore. So I come back the next week and think, right, I need to get a greater burn. So I lighten the load and I just do as many reps as I can. And for a couple of weeks, I associate that feeling the burn is where the growth is. Eventually, I get back up to that weight. I hit it. I do get that burning feeling, and I'm like, oh great, now I can move on. Now the thing is, I could have moved up weight when I PR'd the first time. I didn't have to waste so much time chasing the feeling and chasing the pump. And essentially, I set my progress back by relying on the feeling. If I didn't get the feeling, I wouldn't go up. And it absolutely shocks me to think how much I held myself back with that mindset. It's nice to leave the gym and feel sore. It feels like you've done the work and you see your engorged muscles, you see them kind of swollen up to a slightly bigger size, and you think, maybe this is what I'll look like in a few months. But that's all it is. It is a nice feeling. It has no bearing on the results that you're going to get. It's much more useful for you to focus on, while keeping your form intact, getting stronger. And that is simply, like I said, just more weight in the bar and more repetitions. Cancel all the kind of outside noise, just focus on getting better over time. And this takes me to my fourth lesson. More is not always better. So I trained, as mentioned, 7 days a week for 3 hours. I thought the more I done, the more I would get out of it. But the thing was, I wasn't taking care of my recovery. Recovery can be as important as training. Now, no one's going to recover their way to a Mr. Olympia final. But if you spend all day breaking down your muscles and don't give them any time to repair, you're not going to get any better. So when I first started out, my recovery was shocking. I was not eating enough, I was not eating enough protein, and I was not sleeping enough. I was not managing stress levels within my life. So a day in the life for me would look like running into college late, having skipped breakfast. I would go to my first couple of classes and then grab whatever for lunch, spend the rest of the day there. And then on top of that, I would work all the way through the evening until 9 PM. I would quickly get home, take a nap, but I would have an alarm that got me up at 2 AM. I'd have to get on a bus, go up the north of Scotland and do some filming on location. After that was complete, I would get the bus back down to Glasgow, probably trying my best to sleep there. The average time that I would find myself getting there was anywhere between 5 AM and 6 AM. I would grab a black coffee, rush to the gym and do a workout that was way too long before going back to college and completing the cycle again. And let me tell you, this time in my life was fueled pretty much solely by caffeine and willpower. Now, admittedly, this is a very extreme example and is probably not like many people's experience of being under-recovered in the gym. But it just goes to show how important sleeping and eating is, because in that time I didn't see very much progress at all, and I actually might have backslid a little bit, and this was in kind of a beginner phase. There's two sides to muscle growth. There's the damage you do in the gym, and there is the repair you do outside of the gym. And both of these things don't work without the other. Lesson number 5, you need to stop trying to transform in 6 weeks. There's nothing wrong with having a goal, but I see a lot of videos out here that are transform in 3 weeks, get a 6-pack in 2 days. You need to stop thinking of the gym as this thing that you can complete. You know, it's a process, and it's a process that may last your entire life. Now, don't get me wrong, it is good to have short-term goals, but your short-term goals have to be realistic, and you need to kind of stop looking for the next shortcut. It leaves you very viable for buying into fads. No one ever got 6-pack abs in 3 weeks. No one ever got boulder shoulders in 2 workouts. There's a lot of stuff out there that is just clickbait. The only way out is through. The only way out, realistically, getting to what most people consider a great physique can be anywhere from 5 to 10 years. And that's 5 to 10 years training correctly with the right intensity and getting the right nutrition in. Now that might sound quite disheartening for someone to hear, but it's the truth, and anyone that tells you different is usually trying to sell you something. As someone that's still undergoing that process, that's still, far away from what their end goal is, I would absolutely say that it's been worth it. I can look back and see where I was and where I am now, and I feel a lot better for it. So I might not be in that window of that absolute ideal image, but it is an absolute improvement to my life, and I wouldn't trade it for anything. And my final lesson is rejecting the have to mindset and embracing the get to mindset. It's very easy to fall into the mindset of I have to, oh God, I have to go to the gym today, I have to eat healthy, I have to skip whatever I would rather be doing to be there, I have to train legs, I have to do Bulgarian split squats, this is so bad for me, I just have to do this. You make it a chore, you make it something that's not enjoyable for you. I used to think of the gym as some Rocky montage. You had to be absolutely motivated, and everyone that went to the gym just woke up every day feeling like they wanted to go to the gym, and that cannot be further from the truth. You might not feel 100% into it. There might be something that you would rather be doing that day. To me, going to the gym is a lot more akin to brushing your teeth or showering. You might not always feel like you want to do it, but by God, you should never skip it. This is where the get to mindset comes in. You get to go to the gym. Going to the gym is a privilege. Now, it's very easy for me to just draw comparisons. There's kids that are born without legs, or there's people in countries where they don't have gyms, and kind of draw from that. But I think your get to should genuinely come from personal experience. For me, one of the biggest things is my uncle always lifted weights. He's one of pioneers lifting weights in the 70s. He was really active. He ran marathons. He was a judo champion. He'd done a lot in his life. But when he was 27, he was diagnosed with MS. And essentially, over time, his body began to shut down. And this left him completely unable to be physically active. And fairly recently, he passed away from the disease. So the way that I look at it now is every time I'm in the gym is an opportunity that he didn't have, and that many people don't have. The thing is about MS is a genetic disease, and he was diagnosed when he was 27. Now he's my uncle. I'm 25. You should not only think about how grateful other people would be to be in your shoes, but you've got to think about yourself in the future for now. Do you want to look back and go, oh, I wasted all that opportunity when I was young. I could have been fitter, I could have been healthier, I could have done this, I could have done that. Or do you want to seize the moment whilst you're within it? Because regardless, if there is no, potential genetic disease coming for you, aging will. And there'll be one day that you are old and unable to do what you are now. You've got to ask yourself, will you be thankful for all those skipped gym sessions? Because quality of life for an older person boils down to the ability to essentially perform a bodyweight squat. About 90% of people going into care homes go into it because they can't get off the toilet without assistance. And is that the kind of life that you want to lead? So next time you're thinking about skipping that gym session or half-arsing it, or thinking, oh my God, I have to do this, take that opportunity, relate it to something to yourself personally. You don't have to listen to my story, you don't have to listen to anyone else's. There's someone in your life, and if there isn't someone in your life, think about yourself in the future that can look at your situation and be jealous. So go out and use that opportunity that is so kindly been given to you. Those are all the mistakes I made as a beginner. If you avoid these, you'll be on to an absolute winner in the gym. Please let me know down below, did you make any of these mistakes? Did you not know that any of these things that you may currently have been doing was a mistake? And was there any mistakes that I didn't mention? If you enjoyed this video, please like the video. And if you want to stay up to date with more, subscribe, clicking the bell notification so you get notified every single time we post one.